Bruce Cassidy and the Golden Knights silenced the Blue Jackets and the cannon, which explodes after each Columbus goal. VGK 4-0 winners last night, so they get the dub on the road for the first time in 3 games. More ahead on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco. Check out my interview with NASCAR driver Zane Smith on the Believe in Vegas podcast as the Pennzoil 400 rolls into town, along with Chris Golick, collectibles editor for the Hockey News, owner of the Silver State Cards and Sports Company. And ahead today, we'll be talking about VGK's back-to-back in Buffalo Saturday, Detroit on Sunday. Very early games. Set your alarm. Plus our WTF feature with all of your comments. We'd like to thank our sponsors today, of course, from the top, FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com. It is March Madness time. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Bruce Cassidy probably told VGK, the team, the same thing that he said to the reporters Thursday earlier. I don't want to hear the damn cannon. Well, Cassidy and the Golden Knights.
Is that what he said verbatim?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, Cassidy and the Golden Knights put a muzzle on that cannon last night. Adin Hill, 27 saves, and VGK prevails, Chris, 4-0 in the shutout. They excelled on special teams. A goal by Nick Waugh that started the scoring on the power play. VGK killed off 3 penalties in the game. What stood out to you?
Starting by the Golden Knights still had an issue, number one, and Coach Cassidy did mention a sleepy start again. Thankfully, Adin Hill was up to the challenge early. Just kind of peeling back some stats here on this game. I didn't watch the game too closely. I will definitely concede that, but I caught up on the highlights, and I was listening, I guess, to a lot of it as well. But the narrative is the first period, right? All the shot attempts that Columbus had before Vegas even started getting shots on the board. But when you look at the high danger chances, the Golden Knights actually had more high danger chances in the first period, 4-3 per a natural stat trick, and then went on to an advantage 13-6 as far as that goes. So what that tells me is, yes, Adin Hill was remarkable. He made many good saves, and it wasn't for him and what he did early in the game, this could have gone much differently, and Coach Cassidy's head would be ringing this morning from that damn cannon, as he said. But the Golden Knights, the shots they were letting up weren't necessarily of the high danger variety. So credit Adin Hill for getting the job done, and credit the Golden Knights, even when they had a sleepy start, to limiting the risk, I guess, from the shots that were coming.
Brandon Saad, Pavel Dorofeev, who potted his 26th goal, and Alex Pietrangelo on an empty netter, the scoring for VGK. And we did see the return of Brett Howden and Ivan Barbashev as they returned to the lineup. I guess Jonas Rondbjerg was odd man out last night.
His wife gave birth to?
I didn't see. I don't know. I don't follow his wife. I got to find her on Instagram. Thank you.
So, yeah, just kind of looking at some stats here and stuff. I mean, obviously, everyone's a plus in the game, which is certainly good. Jack Eichel, an assist. I believe that sets a franchise mark for points for the Golden Knights. Nice to see.
So
Brandon Saad, Brandon Saad, how good is this so far, right? What's he, I don't have the direct stats since he arrived in Vegas in front of me, but what's he got, 4 or 5 goals already and probably that many assists or something like that? So the refresh for Brandon Saad is certainly nice to see, especially how tough he struggled in St. Louis. It was worth a flyer. It was worth a risk, and that's posing to be a very nice deadline acquisition. Riley Smith with an assist last night as well. Nice to see him starting to get some synergy, if you will, with Nicholas Waugh.
Okay, you're talking about pluses. So have you seen the numbers lately on Braden McNab? One of my unsung heroes, by the way, over the
He's
summer.
not unsung anymore, I don't think. That's not fair. He's not unsung anymore. He's standing
now.
He's standing out. He's standing out.
He's moved to sung status? What are you telling me here? A +2
he's
on
player.
Thursday night. Now a +37 on the season. a plus 37 among the leaders in the NHL.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was going to start to Google the NHL plus minus leaders. Yeah, no, Braden McNab. What else is there possibly to say about him? Like, he does everything right out there, starting
What's the
from
second, third?
his.
What is he? Did you find it? Yeah.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay.
His responsibility is just absolutely remarkable out there. Alexei Protas for Washington, number 1 at a plus 38. McNab, number 2 at a plus 37. What I am curious is, so among defensemen, Braden McNab is number 1. Actually, a little more defensemen in the top 10 than I thought there were going to be. I thought there was going to be a tougher position, but yeah, I know Braden McNab is number 1 as far as on the defensive side in the plus minus, one behind Alexei Protas. But does everything right. He's a leader. He obviously checks very, very well, and he has some offensive scoring touch, and he's been here since day one, and he's just as good now as he was 8 years ago, right? I mean, it's just we can spend 30 minutes just drooling over Braden McNab's accomplishments. He does it so quietly. He's literally not in the middle of any drama. I've never heard his name come up in anything negative, and I don't know what bad you can say about the guy.
This has to be, he has to have the record, right? I don't remember any Golden Knight having that outstanding of a number in plus minus. That might be a team record. It
should be.
Close,
I mean, it's the
right?
season's not over, so we'll see if it lasts. But yeah, I mean, the way it's going, he might get plus 42 by the time it's done.
Yeah, for sure. And Bruce Cassidy said afterward, a man after my own heart, that he wants the team to shoot more. He wants them to shoot more, but four shots.
More. Okay, I think your audio cut for a second, but that was borderline right there.
Are we good? Can you hear me okay?
Oh, I can hear you fine. It sounded like you wanted him to number 2 more. That's what it came out as almost.
Shoot more. I said shoot. And four shoots on goal. I don't give a shoot. And 4 shots on goal for Eichel, Waugh, and Saad. 3 shots for Pavel Dorofeev. And Eichel, as you mentioned, had that assist, and he passed William Karlsson now with 79 points, a team record. And Eichel also on a 7-game point streak. Jersey comes out once in a while, and yeah, it does. My bad.
No, it was fine. I was just messing around.
Shoot.
Eichel, what's there to say about Eichel right now? I mean, it's kind of the same thing about McNab. I mean, does everything right, but what Eichel's doing is the stuff that certainly stands out on the score sheet. It stands out when you watch the game. And Kelly McCrimmon, I mean, it's going to wind up being a McCrimmon love fest, I guess, on this episode for a little bit. But again, another
I give him credit for Eichel. I'll give him credit for Eichel.
Oh, 100,000%.
He gets his flowers for Eichel big time. Okay.
He gets flowers for a lot of things that he did, and definitely Eichel. And what I like right now is a game like this, basically you have 4 lines rolling, with the exception, of course, when special teams are out there excelling in what they've been doing. But White Cloud and Hannafin were the minutes leaders at 22:55 and 22:08. And then no other Golden Knights over 20 minutes. And starting with Pietrangelo, only 19:20. Jack Hughes at 19:50. Mark Stone at 18:20. I don't have the minutes like game by game charts in front of me, but I feel like there's been a conscious effort to limit Mark Stone's minutes down the stretch. And I guess
Pietrangelo's not number 1
Pietrangelo as well too. When you separate him and Hannafin, that's definitely going to end up playing out like that. So this is a good thing. The Golden Knights obviously are finding ways to win hockey games and get some points. Of course, you had the Kings game recently, but what are you going to do about that? But you're starting to see when the minutes are being managed like this, you're also giving the players on the bottom 6 more opportunities to get reps and everything as well. So it's only a win-win for everybody when this can happen. I got the Mark Stone game log coming up here, so let me look at his minutes. But I feel like there was just a pretty noticeable shift from the number of minutes about over the last maybe 3 weeks ago or so. I'm hoping this shows.
Four nations.
I mean, I guess that's probably the no-brainer way to say that.
Right.
All right. So looking at his last 6 games, he had 1 game over 20 minutes, and that was the loss in Pittsburgh in overtime. Granted, that wasn't a long overtime, but still. But I mean, you definitely see earlier in the season a lot more 20-minute games, a lot more 20s than you do recently. So credit the coaching staff for probably sticking with the plan versus double shifting them every chance the team gets.
Yeah, and other than those Sprouts selfies, he's really not been very visible of late. He's been visible, but
He's
no,
not, he doesn't have a physical. I mean, he'll play physical when he needs to, but
I said
his strength outside
visible,
of
visible, visible.
he'll get physical and visible both, I guess. But Mark Stone's strength is going to come between the blue lines at creating havoc and turnovers, and of course responsibility on both sides of the ice.
Don't look now, but LA has passed Edmonton, a point up in the standings now, a game in hand. And yes, VGK does not play Los Angeles again, which is absolutely stupid, but only 6 points separate the two teams. I think around the Four Nations or before that, we could see a flash coming from the Kings, right? We talked about them and that they would be a dangerous team in the Pacific Division. And here they come. And Edmonton just continues to slide while the Kings now just stacking W's at home. They are.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like if I'm reading this right here, the Kings 30, so 12, 25. Yeah, I mean,
Cover
I
the
only have
line.
the home road split in front of me, but the Kings are going to have more home games down the stretch, I
Yes.
believe. And
Yes. They're
I've
open with 7
been
straight on the road, these guys. Come on.
I've been very, very clear that the Kings are the number one threat to the Golden Knights. I didn't think Edmonton was going to fall off like this, to be fair. And we've seen in the past where Edmonton kind of hangs out and they turn on down the stretch and such, and it seems like they keep trying to crank the ignition, but it's not happening. And you're starting to wonder now about the makeup of the Edmonton Oilers here. And Knobloch, I think he's done a lot of great things. Obviously, he took over a team and got to the Stanley Cup last year, the coach of the Oilers, that is. But when you're watching teams play them, like if you just turn on the third period of a game where it's a 1-goal game, where if the Oilers are trailing, okay, here we go. McDavid and Draisaitl are basically double shifted every other shift, and that's the strategy. And don't get me wrong, you got two of the best players in the universe. You want them on the ice, but you have to find ways to get more out of that lineup, and Knobloch is not able to do that right now, it seems like.
Coming up next, VGK is hoping this weekend's back-to-back opponents, Buffalo and Detroit, have punched themselves out. We'll talk about it next right here on Locked On Golden Knights. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who is going to be cutting down the nets. I've got my eye on a few underdogs this year. The UNLV Running Rebels are not one of those. I went to the game last night and they are eliminated. FanDuel, by the way, makes it easy to back all your teams with point spreads, totals, and game props. With tournament games happening almost every day, there's always something to get excited about to bet on. And the FanDuel app is so simple to use. And when you win, you get paid instantly. There is no waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com. Get in on the college hoops action today. Go to FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like me, your mornings have to start with a good cup of Java, a good cup of coffee. But, I am just tired of settling for the grocery store brands that were just not cutting it at all. That's why I turned up and tuned in and tried Trade. And let me tell you, this coffee is next level. Trade is the #1 specialty coffee marketplace in the U.S. It brings you fresh coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters, and their experts have taste tested thousands of coffees, curating over 450 amazing roasts. Whether you are new to coffee or you know exactly what you like, they'll handpick the perfect match for you. And my first bag was absolutely a game changer because, first of all, it smells really good. It's delicious. And then it had such a smooth, rich flavor, and I could actually taste the difference from my usual coffee. And if you don't love your first bag, No worries. Trade will replace it for free until they get it just right. Right now, Trade is exclusively offering the listeners of Locked On Golden Knights 40% off of your first order. Can't beat that. drinktrade.com/lockedonnhl. That is drinktrade, TRADE.com/lockedonnhl. And you will get 40% off your first order. drinktrade.com/lockedonnhl. Welcome back on Locked On Golden Knights, the WTF edition. Tony Cardasco and the man that I call a roaster. He's a roaster of sorts. He roasts people. Chris Golick, thank you so much for making us your first listen every day. And of course, we appreciate you tuning in wherever you might be. Please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. So you've got your time. You are worse than VGK. You said that these games were going to be starting like at noon. No, these are 9 o'clock, 9:30 games this weekend. Okay, so
Eastern time zone.
Okay. So back-to-back morning games, Saturday at Buffalo at 9:30 a.m. and that's Las Vegas time. Sunday at Detroit at 10 a.m. VGK is, let's say, clock challenged of late. So the Sabres are the 8th team in the Atlantic Division. Tage Thompson, 58 points, 34 goals. He was struggling the first time VGK had faced Buffalo, but now he is not. He's warmed up. Rasmus Dahlin, I think, is 40 points. JJ Paterka, who you really like.
51 points.
Okay. What does Paterka have? 51 points too?
51.
Okay. Alex Tuck.
49.
40 assists for Dahlin, right? Okay.
Yes.
49 for Tuck. That's it. That's what I was talking about right there. So this will be an interesting game. The pieces that Buffalo added, Josh Norris, the 24-year-old setter. When's his birthday? Do you know? And Jack Bernard Docker, the defenseman from Ottawa, in exchange for Dylan Cousins at the trade deadline. And one other move for Buffalo, they had extended Jason Zucker for 2 more years in Buffalo. So that's the team they'll face. Different look.
Peyton Krebs, 17 points. Alex Tuck, 49 points. That still does not equate to Jack Eichel's output on this season right there. So just a reminder
of
how the Sabres won.
Talk about roasting people. Yeah, okay. Go ahead, roast people, because you are the roaster.
The Sabres, this is just so bizarre, right? I mean, you're trading Dylan Cousins, a potential superstar in the league. Not that Josh Norris isn't. But the Sabres just still remain this juggernaut in a bad way of what's the word I'm looking for, where you're just kind of lost and there's no direction in life. And it's just so hard to figure out what the Sabres are doing. You have this core of Tage Thompson, Rasmus Dahlin, Alex Tuck. You had Dylan Cousins who they let go, and you got some other up and coming players and everything. And Jason Paterka is a fantastic piece, but they just keep on making these head scratching deals. Like at some point, they just got to pick a lane and stick with it. Like, are they going to blow up the team, which they should, or are they going to stick with the plan for a while? And then they're swapping basically superstar level players in hopes to give new beginnings and that they're going to do well. It looks like Dylan Cousins is going to be just fine in Ottawa, and we'll see how well Josh Norris can adapt to things in Buffalo. I mean, it's Dylan Cousins going up right to from the outhouse to the penthouse.
Right. 2-time, I think 20 goal scorer, Josh Norris. I think so. I think he's had 20 or more twice, and he's just 24. And the comments from, I think it was the GM there in Buffalo, just saying that now we have a center. So I don't know. So there's something going on there.
When your team has not made the playoffs in, I think, the last 3 presidential elections, 4 maybe now, like, I think you need to maybe pump the brakes a little bit when it comes to chirping and things like that. Going into the going into the trade deadline, they were on a 6-game losing streak, and then oddly enough, they picked the Edmonton Oilers to snap their losing streak, so that's good. And then they came back to reality against the Red Wings, who the Golden Knights will face on Sunday, in a 7-3 loss.
Oh, and the biggest story there was the fisticuffs. So Buffalo faces Detroit this past week. The game best known for the 10-man melee, which resulted in 134 penalty minutes, 11 players, 10-minute misconducts. The ref at that point said, all the other guys are going to have a misconduct. Remember that? That was brilliant. And then it was fueled by guess who? Alex Tuck, Michael Rasmussen. Those two were tangling. They did a little dance, and then that was it. It was really bad.
It's unfortunate for the Red Wings to have to get involved. I mean, I'm assuming it happened in the third period when the game was out of balance.
It was a little bit out of hand. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's unfortunate that when your team is winning by that margin, you got to, deal with loser hockey in a sense, and that's what that was right there. And it's the Sabres. What are you going to do, man?
Yeah, and then Detroit on Sunday. They picked up Peter Mrazek, your guy from Chicago.
My guy.
But now they have a rotation, 3 goalies: Mrazek, Cam Talbot, Alex Lyon. I think they're playing all 3 of them, from what I thought.
That's weird. Gathered. Cam Talbot is having a fantastic season, so I'm not sure what the storyline is there. Detroit finds themselves on the outside looking in as far as that final playoff spot, and there's a juggernaut of teams with Columbus, your Rangers, Islanders, Bruins, Red Wings, Montreal. So basically all of those teams are between 65 and 70 points. The cut line right now is 70 points with 2 teams tied at 70. So
Columbus and who?
Columbus, your Rangers are tied at 70. Right. And that's where the cut line is. Technically, one of them would be on the outside looking. It looks like the Rangers are on the outside.
That'll come down to the final game there.
It's going to be very interesting to see. It looks like Ottawa might be kind of getting some separation for that final wild card spot right now. Yeah. But again, desperate team. Credit the Golden Knights for playing. Columbus didn't look desperate yesterday, but they are desperate as far as where they are in the standings. And the Golden Knights, I watched the condensed replay, the highlights, and the end of the game showed it was the Columbus Blue Jackets feed, and they said the Golden Knights put a masterclass on as far as how they played that game, and that's what the Golden Knights need to do this weekend. These are 2 games you win by hopefully outclassing your opponents. Golden Knights are obviously way above in weight class as far as how things are going this season, and little things right, and it's going to be tough because these are early starts. These are 2 times that the Golden Knights have never played this season, I believe, and it's 9:30 local time. That's not an easy situation for a team that's flown across the country. Yes, they're acclimated to the time, at least to a degree. So that's a good thing, but this is not going to be an easy game by any means for the Golden Knights, either one. If they can come out of this with at least 2, if they come out with 2 points, it's success.
And we said 4 and a hook, 5 points, and that's success.
Yeah, I'll put them at 5. That'd be great. And if they can get to 6, even wonderful.
Yeah, if they can get that extra point, that would be terrific. Your guy, another one of your guys, Patrick Kane, still has it, a 5-point night in that contest that they played against Buffalo the other night. Oh, by the way, Detroit plays the Hurricanes on Friday night. At least they don't play back-to-back. I'm surprised the league didn't have them playing a night game then followed by an early morning game, because that's the way things go around this league.
I had a feeling you'd want that. How's Patrick Kane doing this year anyway? How's Patrick Kane doing?
Okay. He decided to stay there, right? And a lot of players don't want to leave the East. They don't want to leave there once they start there.
I think there's a family situation and all that. 45 points for Patrick Kane, definitely in the twilight of his career, but a player that was talked about coming to Vegas probably once or twice over the last couple of trade deadlines. And not that we would have minded seeing Patrick Kane in a VGK uniform, especially right now down the stretch where McCrimmon kind of stood pat. But it seems like right now things are working out. But man, Patrick Kane will look so nice in a VGK uniform. But to be fair, at least the younger version of Patrick Kane, Eric Grabbers, we would have to keep him away from UNLV because he's got some stories about being up in Madison and having a little fun. So maybe Vegas isn't the best place for Patrick Kane, even
Would not
as
have been.
the adult
Would not
form.
have been. It's a great place to rehabilitate here in Vegas too. Coming up next, we've got What the Friday WTF. Look at those eyes.
Coming from a place that literally has like a business is made out of IV drips for people struggling with hangovers.
Yes, for sure. Coming up next, it is What the Friday. Stay tuned as we return right here for this WTF edition. Whoa, of Locked On Golden Knights. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites because Indeed has sponsored jobs and it puts your post at the top of the page and can help you to reach the right candidates and fast. And I've been in a spot, I'm sure Chris has too, in which you really do need to hire right now, like yesterday. And the pressure's on, and every day without the right person, it really does hurt. And it's a setback for your business. That's exactly when Indeed's sponsored jobs come in handy, and they make sure that your post is seen by the right candidates right now. And now you can speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. That's right, a $75 job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now. Support our show, Locked On Golden Knights. And please make sure that you said that you heard about Indeed on this very podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. Back on this Friday edition of Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick reporting from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure to tune in and also support our program as much as possible. So I was driving over to the Thomas and Mack Center last night, listening to VGK radio, and WTF happened to Dan Duva. So he's broadcasting the game, and he tells Gary Lawless, I need to step out of the booth. You take it from here. And that was it. And there was really, the guy has so much emotion and all that during the broadcast. And leading up to that, it sounded just like he was struggling. You could tell he was laboring, something was wrong. And I still don't know. So I got to the Thomas and Mack. Do we even know? Did you listen? You said you listened to some of the game on the radio. Did he return? And if so, thankfully, Gary Lawless, play-by-play, WTF.
Yeah, more Lawless isn't necessarily the best option. I'm scrolling through here and I'm not seeing people are.
No one reported on it. I was listening to it and driving over to the Thomas and Mack, and he bowed out, and Lawless was on through a commercial break and came back, and yeah, it was I don't know. So
yeah, I mean,
hopefully it was okay.
Life happens, obviously.
Right. No doubt. But yeah, just wanted to make sure he was okay.
Yeah, no, 100%. And the fact that there's nothing being talked about or anything on social about besides people asking if he was okay and he didn't respond to anything, that tells me it's probably a minor circumstance. And every now and then life happens when you're on the air and you got to deal with some things, I guess.
Okay. Let me get into some more. Let me fire.
Oh, you got more? Okay, go ahead.
G-Dub points out last night that Columbus TV called Nick Waugh. You said you.
Oh, I heard it. I heard it.
Roy?
I heard it.
They call him Nick Roy.
It was even in the replay, in the condensed replay on the AHL Network.
WTF? Nate Schmidt ragdolled. Oh my goodness! You didn't see it, obviously. Go to my Twitter feed and scroll down. Just go down a little bit past all the nonsense and what have you, and you will see the video. Nate Schmidt ragdolled in a fight with Max Domi. Schmidt plays for Florida.
Max Domi, enough said right there, dude.
I said he needs to go back on the PEDs.
How far do I got? Oh, Jesus.
I had a lot of hoops. Did I have anything in there? Okay, one other thing. You can check that out.
Ooh,
Someone said that the Tucson Roadrunners. That would have been a good time to pull out Columbus's cannon and fire a shot at him. Someone said the Tucson Roadrunners this week of the AHL are moving to Reno. Whoa. This cat, whoever it was out there, thought that he had a scoop. How long ago? Again,
3 years, 2 years, seriously.
I think it's a couple of years since
It's at least a couple of years. You
I
called
had a
it.
source. I had a source that told me officially, who's attached to the Marulo family, that told me that this was going to happen. WTF, bro, acting like he had a scoop, and I scooped this a long time ago. WTF. Sorry, I had a lot of things on my mind. Evidently.
No, you're good. WTF. I mean, I've never experienced that cannon, but obviously, I guess it creates a home ice advantage because it's on players' minds and coaches' minds and stuff. And good on the Golden Knight. I mean, like I scroll through Twitter, so many people talk about that darn cannon, and so WTF on the can. Maybe I should turn the volume down a little bit. I don't know. Weather, of course, it's NASCAR weekend in Vegas, and it means it's always a cold weekend. It never fails. And looks like the wind has died down, so me and Chris should be able to enjoy that truck race tonight. I certainly hope. WTF, Henderson Silver Knights made a mistake and giving me an opening, I guess. They tweeted a picture. I don't know who the player was, but he kind of was like staring at the camera with the wide eyes. Kind of, I don't know, it was kind of just a funny moment and said, caption this. So, I basically said, they told him he won a free subscription to Nighttime Plus, and dude looks mortified. But speaking of mortified and terrible things, Nighttime Plus still doing Nighttime Plus things. And all you got to do is spend 30 seconds during any game that is going to be shown on Nighttime Plus. People are complaining about it still, to black screens, to ads popping up during play, to it just freezing out. Like, I've never had something that I pay for that is just this bad. Like, I mean, listen, if I go to McDonald's, I expect them to screw up the food and have to complain to somebody, and then they give me a dirty look to fix it. But, even a trip to McDonald's goes smoother than a night at Nighttime Plus, and it's just unfortunate. And I don't know if the Golden Knights care. I don't know if the Golden Knights have the ability to fix it. I don't know if this is a third-party thing where all they can do is, complain about it, and hopefully it gets fixed. Or maybe they would be nice if the fact that they're charging me $20 if I want to enjoy a beer at a game, maybe they can throw a little bit of my money back for my Nighttime Plus. It'd be nice for a nice touch for everyone who's gone through this, because it does cause stress. Nicholas Roy is about to come in and score a goal, and then the screen goes black. I mean, good God, WTF.
WTF for sure. Some of our listeners and viewers, you have anything on YouTube?
No.
WTF, Idaho Patriots 69. The game Saturday is at 9:30 a.m. Pacific.
I love it.
WT,
I love it.
the
I love that.
F.
We got WTAF. Wow. Woo.
Yeah. Let's see. Chuck Dickerson says, who was playing goalie for the Knights? That could not have been the same guy who played against the Kings a few days ago.
That is a good WTF. It's good. It's a good thing.
Very, very, very true. And, we talked about the inconsistencies of the goaltenders.
No, we talked about concern, and of course, that's when Adin Hill comes out and throws a shutout just to remind us who's boss. So good on Adin Hill for that.
Okay, and then we have T.A. Nyman, WTF. For the first time, I didn't have any buffering issues on Nighttime Minus. They're starting to catch on.
So we talk about struggling goalies shutout. We talk about Nighttime Minus. We have a perfect night at Nighttime Minus. So what can we fix in life, Tony? What can we fix in life? Egg prices are too much. Bam, there you go. They're going to go down.
Let me finish. She said that's worthy of a WTF on its own.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
We have some serious issues. So, oh my goodness. So, like, when you get to that point, like, are you satisfied with Nighttime Minus? I always put no, and then they say, do you want to talk to a representative? And I say no. Why? The only time you go on there is when there's a game going on. You want to talk to customer service during the freaking game?
And it's going to do absolutely nothing. Like, to be fair, I know they're aware of the issues. I've had a team representative, we'll call it, reach out to me earlier in the season about it, probably because I was too busy roasting them the whole time, and they wanted to call the sword. I said, fine, I'll stop for a little bit, no problem.
Coffee, man. But roasting them.
Fix the stupid app, and then I'll STF you. But they didn't fix the stupid app, so now I'll WTF it instead.
Make sure that you check out. I've got that podcast, Believe in Vegas, BLEAV, and my guest this week is Zane Smith, second-year NASCAR driver who really learned how to drive their Legends cars and such on the mini oval there on the bull ring. And I did ask him, though, on your behalf about the waterless boat races, if he's ever driven in those. He said no, but definitely we got to get him to come out here to do that. That would be fun. Good cat. So good luck to him this weekend. NASCAR's here, so you're going to trucks.
As long as the weather cooperates, I'm going to double check. As long as it's not windy, I'm in.
Okay, I don't see much wind out there.
No,
today.
it looks okay now.
Really?
It looks okay
Right
now. If
now.
it was yesterday, we were not going. Put it to you
But
like
the
that. It was
speedway's
snowing
wide
around the valley yesterday, for crying out loud.
Where was that? I was
West
at
side.
the game. West side. I figured.
Far west side. And usually when there is any snow in the valley, we usually get it because we're in the upper elevation of Henderson, way up like horizon, way up the hill up there. And like 2 years ago, we were building snowmen and stuff one day while the rest of the valley had this crazy rain. It was like this literally 1 mile square radius. 35 minutes. Get us out of here.
All right. We appreciate everyone tuning in, and especially our everydayers who keep us afloat, if you will. Water or not, they keep us afloat. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe to our Lockdown Golden Knights YouTube channel. For my man, Chris Kollick, I am Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. Have a terrific weekend, everyone. We'll see you again Monday. If not, maybe we'll fire up
more trade coffee
for Sunday. Yeah. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you again on Monday right here on Lockdown Golden Knights, and please take care.